Yeah, on my end I can see that it's trying to connect. The URL popped up and it says starting soon, which means it's trying to connect. There we go, I got it. I have a live feed.
Yeah, it's live now. Just hold on. Christina, can you see it?
Yeah.
Good. Can he start?
Yeah, start.
Right, so you introduce yourself. You introduce yourself first.
Sure. All right, thanks, folks. My name is Vincent. I'm one of the chefs here at Pritikin Longevity Center. Today, what we're going to make for you is an orange-scented chocolate mousse. What I have here is just a little pot of water starting to come to a boil. I'm going to add vanilla extract, orange juice, orange zest, and cocoa powder, a little bit of Splenda as well. You can also use a different no-calorie sweetener. We use Splenda here as well as Truvia at Pritikin. Now, I also am going to use silken tofu as the base here, whereas you can also use a roasted sweet potato. We have a few different recipes that we call various different ingredients. So we're going to use here a little bit of cocoa powder to start. This is Hershey's unsweetened cocoa powder. You don't need very much because the cocoa powder is very strong on its own. It's very bitter if you put too much of it as well. Unless you prefer that kind of darker, intense chocolate flavor, you can put a dash more. This is pure vanilla extract. We'd rather use pure vanilla, not an artificial imitation flavor. Using a good amount of vanilla here because it tones down the bitterness of the cocoa powder. And here is my no-calorie sweetener. You need a good amount of this here. This one measures cup for cup, just like white sugar, so it can be a little bit more easy for people to kind of have an idea of how much they should use, how much sweetness they're going to achieve from that. Now the reason we're going to cook this is because it's going to tone down, again, the bitterness that the cocoa powder can sometimes have. Just cooking it is going to help relieve that. Now one thing you have to be aware of, if you bring that up to a boil too fast, you can actually burn the bottom. So just have to be aware of that, keep stirring it up, or do it on a lower flame. So here's just one fresh orange. I'm going to take this tool here called a microplane, and I'm going to zest this right into the actual cocoa. And this is going to even bring more orange flavor out of that. Now, if you don't like the orange flavor with it, simply leave this out. You can use various different things as opposed to orange. All right, you can use any other citrus. You can also use herbs in here. So, just be creative. Now, I'm also going to use a little of the juice. But to cross-utilize just one orange and not waste it all, what I'm going to do is actually take this top part off, and we can actually stuff this orange if you like, or if you felt like maybe it didn't look so good because you zested it, you can just get another orange. We have many oranges here to choose from. So just to show you what we're going to do here is we'll cut the top off and a little bit off of the bottom here, and that's going to allow this orange to actually rest flat when we actually want to scoop this all the inside out and stuff our mousse back into there. Again, keep an eye on this so it doesn't burn here on the bottom. This is called a melon ball or a Parisian scoop. And what we're going to do with this is simply scoop out some of that inside, just like this here, making sure you don't have any seeds in there. Some oranges you can will simply just be seedless already. But just good here, about good 60 seconds, scooping all this out and trying to get all that pulp out. And what you're going to do is wind up with a totally hollowed out orange on the inside, and that's what we're going to wind up having. You can also leave the top part if you like to kind of garnish that as a little hat, and we'll show you what we're going to do here with this. A little bit of the juice we had come out of it, we'll go ahead and pour that into our mixture here in this pot here. Again, just keep an eye on it. This is just about to come to a boil. You can see the steam starting to come up here. And just cooking it just for a couple minutes is going to help, again, relieve that bitterness of the cocoa powder. So we'll take that off the stove here. Now we'll go over here and start to blend this up with our silken tofu. You have to use silken tofu for this recipe. If you try to blend firm tofu, it is not going to work. And just so you have an idea, I brought both of them with me here to show you the differences. Now the firm tofu has more of the flavor, more of the texture of almost like a feta cheese kind of. It's very dense. You'll never actually be able to blend this up. You'll not be able to do it. So this is more for searing it as a piece of tofu steak. This one here is what we're going to use today. This is the silken tofu. If you're somebody who cannot have cream cheese or yogurt or sour cream, but you'd rather use, silken tofu as a lactose alternative, lactose-free alternative. And this here will blend up nice, creamy, smooth, have the same texture as cream cheese or yogurt. So we'll put a little bit of our silken tofu into here. Again, if you wanted to use a roasted sweet potato as an alternative as opposed to the silken tofu, that would also work great. If you roast it as opposed to boiling it or microwaving it, it's going to bring out natural sweetness and caramelization from there. So you want to use a food processor for this. It is not going to work using a blender really, because the blender you need a lot of liquid for that to actually kind of get it going. And if you put too much liquid here, you're not really going to have a mousse, you'll have more like a pudding, which might not be a bad thing, honestly. So, it's up to you, the ratio you'd rather go with. But just remember, with a food processor, does not require that much liquid to be added to there. So we'll go ahead and just blend this up, and our recipe is done. Whenever you're putting something hot into the food processor, not that it's very much, just pulse it, which is going to help relieve the pressure. You're going to keep blending that until all those white chunks are broken up and you have a nice creamy smooth sorbet, smooth mousse. Now, to make this easy to actually scoop out, I finished one already and I put this into a gallon bag. These are called inexpensive piping bags when you simply cut the corner off, and here you go. You can go ahead now and pipe this right into our hollowed out orange here. And this is not only going to be much easier to go ahead and assemble a bunch of these by just pouring it right in from the bag, and it's going to be much cleaner and neater. You can see we'll go ahead and actually, if you want to, we can garnish this. If you take some of your mousse and you cool that down and put this into a squeeze bottle, you can actually go ahead and decorate your orange or your pumpkin or whatever you like to use here by putting little eyes on there, maybe a little mouth. And we also have a white sauce, which we use fat-free sour cream and some vanilla and Splenda to kind of give it some more sweetness and flavor. Here is a strawberry and raspberry puree. So maybe if you're really getting kind of into the Halloween spirit and you want to add some maybe ghoulish blood or something, just be creative, folks. That's what Halloween's all about, and we just try to have fun here. To make this a little bit more presentable on an actual plate, I'll show you what I have here. We took a couple blackberries and cut those in half, and we simply garnish the plate, and here you have it. Folks, I hope you have a happy Halloween, and enjoy. Thank you. Good?